All right, welcome back. Welcome back, guys. Now, this video right here, I couldn't wait to get to this topic of this book because this is one of my favorite things. This is all of like the psychology I study and just my experience of people being in the Navy, dating, friends, male female dynamics. This ties into all of that. But we're going to go 48 Laws of Power, Robert Greene, concise version. Of course, this is law number 4, which is always say less than necessary. Always say less than necessary. Judgment. When you are trying to impress people with words, the more you say, the more common you appear, and the less in control. Even if you're saying something banal, it will seem original if you make it vague, open minded, and Sphinx like. Powerful people impress and intimidate by saying less. The more you say, the more likely you are to say something foolish. Keys to power. Power is in many ways a game of appearances, and when you say less than necessary, you inevitably appear greater and more powerful than you are. Your silence will make other people uncomfortable. Humans are machines of interpretation and explanation. They have to know what you are thinking. When you carefully control what you reveal, they cannot pierce your intentions or your meaning. Your short answers and silences will put them on the defensive, and they will jump in nervously, filling the silence with all kinds of comments that will reveal valuable information about them and their weaknesses. You will leave a meeting with you feeling as if they had been robbed, and they will go home and ponder your every word. This extra attention to your brief comments will only add to your power. As a young man, the artist, okay, here we go. Here we go with the history. I'm not about to read all of that. Okay, blah, 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 blah. Okay, by saying less than necessary, you create the appearance of meaning and power. Also, the less you say, the less risk you may run. Even the less risk you run of saying something foolish, even dangerous. In 1825, here you go with the history again. We're going to skip all of this because I can get to the point. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, blah, blah, blah. Okay, it's a lot of history, and this is the concise version. Okay. Learn the lesson. Once the words are out, you cannot take them back. Keep them under control. Be particularly careful with sarcasm. The momentary satisfaction you will gain with your biting words will be outweighed by the price you pay. It says, image, the oracle at Delphi. When visitors consulted the oracle, the priestess would utter a few enigmatic words that seemed full of meaning and import. No one disobeyed the words of the oracle. They held power over life and death. Authority. Never start moving your own lips and teeth before the subordinates do. The longer I keep quiet, the sooner the other move their lips and teeth. As they move their lips and teeth, I can thereby understand their real intentions. If the sovereign is not mysterious, the ministers will find opportunity to take. Robert Greene, 40 Laws of Power. Always say less than necessary. I'm going to tell y'all how we can tie this into our world. I'm going to tell y'all my experience with this. Life is yin and yang, right? I've noticed that like say you are pursuing a person, right? You want to date someone. The more that you pursue and pursue, it causes them to back up. So it's like a shift. And then and vice versa. The more you kind of like let them pursue you, and you back off a little bit, it's a yin and a yang. It's equal opposite forces, right? The more you talk, the more you reveal, the more you overdo it, the more you're trying to impress people. You're trying to do too much. You're coming off as you're gonna mess up. Now you're saying too much, but the less you say, and the less you give a damn about what people think, and the more you put into yourself. Now more people are because everyone is seeking outside validation. That's the modern world we live in. And even as he describes in all of this history, it's been going on right since the beginning of time. There's always outward validation, always outside acceptance that people crave, people desire, people feel the need to feel accepted. We all do to some degree, some more than others, right? when you're talking and you're, let's just say you're at work. I'll give an example. We're at work and you got a new guy, and I've seen this personally on the ship in the Navy. You're coming and you want to feel accepted, but the more you get to oversharing, over talking, you just always talking, you all oversharing your business, you're always saying every little thing that's on your mind. You're gonna keep talking, and you're gonna keep talking, you're gonna keep talking, and you're gonna end up exposing your weaknesses. There are some people, man. I'm sure you guys may have seen this before. Hey man, how you doing? Well, man, my wife, bro, she's such a whore, and just tell you the whole business. Like, bro, what? Like it happens, man. So you tell that information to the wrong person, which is what this book is about. You oversharing, you're saying way more than necessary. You're putting yourself in a vulnerable position to be taken advantage of, to be used, to be, man, I got ammo on this person. Oh, he just told me about his wife. Oh, his wife is a whore, huh? Let me go find out. There are good is opposite forces. There is good and there is evil. There are people who do not care about your sob story. There are people who do not care about your upbringing, your whatever you got going on. They are out for themselves. You cannot tell all your business. You have to keep certain things to yourself. You have to be very limited. You have to keep that circle tight. You can't go around just talking too much, talking too much. I've seen it also in a professional setting, right? Say, and I talk about this all the time now that I'm in this leadership position. You have to, you kind of got to know your people. Different people, different leadership styles work for different people. The more, like he say, the more you reveal, the more common you appear. And I hate to say it like this, like you're not, no one, not better than anyone, but you have to, it has to be a boundary that's laid between you and your subordinates. And I hate to even use these words, but in the military it's ranking structure, so it's just what it is. There are lower ranking people. You have to draw that line to let them know that they are lower ranking people. You cannot, and it hurts because this is a new thing to me. We was all the same rank once, so once you start ranking up, you have to start moving different, and you don't want to come off as if I've changed or I'm acting different, but you have to change, you have to move different. So you have to make that line very, very clear to them. And that's going to take some doing some new things and not sharing as much, not being as, hey man, yeah, I'm not talking too much and telling too much of your personal business because you don't want your junior personnel looking up to you like, wow, he's my leader. This guy's effed up. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta keep. So you can't say more. You say less than necessary. That's why I know that this rule is vague. And then if you just think about it, right? So another example, right? This is just that was my personal experience, but if you truly think about it, right? If you guys are familiar with church, you go to church. The pastor and all churches are different, but the one from my experience and what I've seen, and the memes and you see these things on social media. The pastor he'll read out of the scripture, and it's not really more so what they're saying, it's the impact and how they're saying it. They can really, they know how to invoke emotion in the congregation. They know how to go in, take a few pieces of the you know whatever text, and they can build it up. So they're really not, they, in so many words, they're saying a whole bunch of nothing. I'm not gonna say it's nothing or it's meaningless, because they can take it and they can, they're preaching the gospel, they're preaching the word, and I respect that. I'm never gonna disrespect religion. I grew up in the church, and there's good in all of the religions and good from all the texts, but the church itself, from my personal experience, I've seen, and I really just watch how they do it. The pastor will go in, he read a scripture, or read, take from the scripture and apply it to and give it to us in a message to where we can apply it to our daily life. But all in all, he really ain't say too much, and he really wasn't just reading directly from there. He really just kind of got the meat and potatoes, put it out to where we can understand it. But if you notice, like the way that it's structured, like he's the leader, the way he moves, the way he carries himself, all of that is important, man. You know what I'm saying? The pastor come up, you getting everything set up, you got the choir singing, you got the introduction, you got the people giving the speeches, and the pastor just kind of, he come in, he all cool, mysterious, come in, go in there, boom, 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 give you that word, say some good, boom, 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 shake hands, kiss babies, out of there. And That's the game, man. That's this book. That's what I'm learning. If you really understand life, and I've noticed that with me being in the military, the higher ranking guys, the ones who go in, give the captains, the admirals, they give these speeches, and I'm not like I said, this ain't no disrespect to the Navy. I love what I do. I love being in. I've learned a lot. But all in all, you kind of can see certain things when you've watched enough speeches and you've watched enough, you've been in enough meetings and you're watching how these guys move. They say some stuff. They know how to invoke that emotion, but they not just telling you. They saying the big stuff. They ain't just going around every little thing. That's the whole point. They're getting to the point. So when they do say something, it's major. That's the point. They're saying they're not all of the little day to day. Yeah, my wife. This you don't come here to hear that from them because they're not supposed to seem like they're normal. They're our leaders, so we supposed to look at them like they got all the answers, even though realistically we're all human. They're all going through things. But what does your preacher, your captain, your commanding officer, what do they look like telling you all of their problems? It doesn't. It's not going to motivate you or inspire you. It's good to they can say it in a way that lets you know like, hey, I'm human. When I was a younger ranking, I had my financial issues and this and that, but this is what I did. They have solutions to the problems. That's the thing. But as far as the day to day, the ins and outs, the every little problem, or I got a traffic ticket, all of that, you don't need to know that because you don't need that. Doesn't That's irrelevant. But when they come in, everything's set up. They give you the what they need to give you, the speech, the message. If you're going to church, like I said, if you're a leader, you don't have to do the little thing. They always say less than necessary and tell us some important stuff. And that's the gist of what Robert Greene is saying in this, man. You don't you don't give people ammo. Let them come to you. Let them question you. You always want to be hard to figure out. And even with dating, as I said like before too, you don't want to overshare. You don't want to, that's why it's the best, like when you first meet someone right and you're dating, the honeymoon phase. You're still learning that person. They're still a mystery. Oh, you're into this? Oh, I didn't know you were into this. Oh, you can sing. Oh, you're learning all of these things because you don't know everything. Because you haven't had much conversation. It's new. The more familiar you become with some things, that's why you always have to be chasing something in life. You always have to be pursuing better things, always changing, always evolving. Because if you're doing the same thing, you're either growing or you're down. You're either going up or you're going down. There ain't no staying stagnant. Like every day you have to be, and you ain't gotta read a million books but just little gradually, an inch a day. Like I always say, always always growing and trying to better yourself. That's how you keep. And then when you're with a partner, always dating them, always doing new things together. You have to keep it fresh because it's easy to get Monday through Friday work, get up in that cycle and just now I'm off. I don't want to do nothing. You have to do things new and exciting. That's the whole point of this life. We weren't made here to work. We were made here to keep the race going, live life to the fullest, see this beautiful world that God has put us in that we're here to experience. So we ain't supposed to be here stressing about bills. You're supposed to go through some things to make you stronger. You're supposed to grow, and there's gonna be some discomfort, but you gotta live life, man. So when it comes to this book and this message, I always say less than necessary. Don't give the enemy, potential enemy, ammo. Don't tell everybody business. Um, but rather just sit back, be cool, listen, understand the game, understand the world we're living in. That's why I'm so into this book because it just give you the game, man. And like I said, there are good people in this world. There are bad people in this world. To know this information, to be aware of this information, will benefit you greatly. Another thing that will benefit you greatly is to continue watching my videos, man. Because because I'm Richard Wilson. If you didn't know, more videos coming, more book reviews coming. We just getting started, baby. I appreciate y'all for rocking with me. And that's all I gotta say, man. That's it. Have a good night, baby.